What's going on, everybody? We got a great show lined up for you today. It is Monday, September 8th, and crypto prices with a small bounce since the weekend, since we last saw you on Friday afternoon. But we got some major things to talk about and why this week could be absolutely huge for the crypto markets. Yeah, we don't get rate cut decisions until next week, but as we've told you several times, rarely do you actually wait for the decision to start the pump. Instead, we have some key data points coming out during this week that should give us the exact answer as to what we're going to expect come next week. Will it be 25 basis points? Will it be 50? Or will, for some reason, the data come out bearish and we get no cuts whatsoever? Let me know in the poll above if you are watching with us live. But we also have two extremely bullish predictions we're going to cover on this channel. They're not my predictions. They're not Strum's predictions or Smay's predictions. They're somebody else's. Will they come true? Stick around until the very end of the show so you get all of your answers, know everything you need to know about the crypto markets today, the price action, the news. Make sure you're here. And if you do enjoy the show, make sure to do a couple of things for me. First of all, smash the like button. You know what? Go ahead and smash it right now just to get out of your system. It's free. You're here. You're strapped in. You're going to learn about crypto news today. Smash that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, which I know that roughly about 30% of you guys watching are not subscribed, why don't you just go ahead and do that too? That's really free as well, and it really helps the channel. So do that, and make sure you also share the channel with your friends so they can learn about crypto prices as well. I'm joined, as always, by the rest of my crew. Smay, back from the sickness that plagued him all of last week. He is looking for his lost golf ball, though, in some shrubbery. So hopefully that comes about somewhere. It's a common tradition with Smay. Ball in the shrubs. How are we doing, my friend?
Tim, you with the jokes. I just decided, I've been inside cooped up sick all week. I decided to go out and touch some grass. Okay, so no, I'm not even playing golf. I'm not even playing golf. This is not even me playing golf. This is just me on a hike, touching grass. And it was great because as soon as I recovered mostly from my sickness, I got to lose my voice once again by screaming my head off watching football yesterday. Man, I love that football's back. How are you, Tim?
I'm very glad that football's back. Some of you guys will know I'm a diehard Virginia Tech Hokie fan. I probably need to start wearing a paper bag over my head for the rest of the season. I loved Pry at one point. Hopefully he's gone in the near future and we get to start off maybe that USF coach. I would love if Tech hired that goalish guy from USF who just beat your Gators, Strum. And of course, your West Virginia Mountaineers lost to Ohio, and not the state, just Ohio. So rough college weekend for the three of us. I do have, I was on X last night. Some of you guys don't follow me on X. You should, at Tim Warren Trades. I put a poll out there and I was letting people decide who should I be a permanent NFL fan of. And the Buffalo Bills were on the list. I had some other teams on there as well. But after last night's game, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills coming back to beat the Ravens, it's locked up. I think the polls even voted for it. But I'm now a Josh Allen Buffalo Bills fan in the NFL. So if you guys want to get some merch for me, I'll buy it myself. But if you guys want to send it to me, you don't know where I live, but you can still just put it out there into the universe and see if it makes its way to me. I'm a Bills fan now. So good NFL week, terrible college football week. Shrum, hopefully it's going to be a good crypto week. How was your weekend?
I had a very good weekend, very restful and just a lot of fun. There was a comment here. William Cohane said, "Hi,
Keohane?
all this pre-recorded."
No.
So I've been channeling. Somebody was going to ask that, and this isn't live. This is pre-recorded. But William, I just feel like there's going to be somebody named William that's going to ask if this is pre-recorded. So there you go, William. That's how I'm doing.
There we go. Good answer. Good answer. Before we get into it, I need to do a better job of this going forward, but today's episode will be brought to you guys by BloFin. Now, you guys know BloFin is the exchange that we use here. All the people in our trading group use it. It is a great exchange, but right now there's actually something. If you're not signed up right now, the first 100 people who click on the link below, sign up for a BloFin account, you will get access to the VIP 1 level. And what that means is for 30 days, so 30 days only, you will have trading fees down at 0.006% for maker fees and 0.05% for taker. Those are normally 0.02 and 0.06, so big discount there. I encourage you to go, but you might be saying, Tim, I'm already signed up for BloFin. I'm already in the group. Is there any benefits for me? Well, there is some big cash back. If you trade only $1,000 of volume, right? It's very easy to trade $1,000 volume. $1,000 of volume, you get $20 free bonus to trade with the rest of this month. However, if you go over $1 million, and the prizes keep going up, you can look in the link down below. It'll tell you some details, but prizes go, if you traded $1 million of volume, which again, not that hard to do, you can get up to $130 USDT. No, it's not a bonus. That is money in your portfolio. So go click on the link, sign up right now, get that VIP rate, VIP 1 rate of trading fees, but also trade some heavy volume and get some cash. So it's hard to lose when you sign up for BloFin right now. Go check out that link down below and trade with the bros. Let's go take a look at the bubbles. I said bros there. It's fresh. You know, the community change is fresh. Let's take a look at the bubbles here and see what is going on today. Big gainer here, MYX. Now, we've seen this one before, Dabble. It jumped 85 spots today up to number 67, MYX Finance. It's the biggest gainer, up 270%. No, I didn't benefit from this. No, I do not hold MYX. Should I hold it now? No, I'm not going to. The other big gainer here, WorldCoin. You guys know I'm not a fan of WorldCoin. Never going to own it. I'm fundamentally against everything that those founders stand for. If you do old WorldCoin, though, you had made some good money here today. You're at 44%, but it's a sea of green overall. SPX is up pretty nice. Virtual, Hex. Off behind my face, you're going to see Bonk and Pengu up as well. So a couple of meme coins having a little bit of a boost here today as we're getting going. And that's because I really do think the rest of this week is going to be very interesting. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it won't be volatile at all. We're gonna look at some charts here in a couple of minutes, and we're gonna see, there is some volatility left. It's not just straight up from here, unless something major comes into the news and just sends us ripping to the upside. But I really do feel like after Wednesday, we will get some news, and I'm assuming that news is gonna be good when it comes to data points in the economy. And if that news does come in well, I really do anticipate this week, as we're getting towards the second week of September, we're really going to start to see a nice surge happen once again as we get into FOMC meeting next week. But before we do that, let's get into a prediction that was made about Bitcoin coming over the rest of the year. Now, you guys know Tom Lee. If you guys have been watching our show, we've covered a lot of Tom Lee news recently. He's really big on Ethereum. He's effectively going to become like the Michael Saylor of Ethereum, right? Michael Saylor is the CEO of MicroStrategy, a company at this point pretty much is just tied to Bitcoin. They just buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And so it's almost like having a leveraged Bitcoin position. Well, Tom Lee has his own company where he's kind of doing the same thing with Ethereum. However, it doesn't mean he doesn't think Bitcoin is good. It doesn't mean he doesn't even own Bitcoin, because in a recent video on CNBC, he made the prediction that Bitcoin can still double from here. You guys don't know, if you haven't looked at price action, Bitcoin's sitting a little bit over $112,000 right now. So he's predicting somewhere in the world of $225,000 before the end of this bull run. Shrum, before we get into this charts, I want to throw it to you because you're the one who found this clip. What are your thoughts about what Tom Lee says here? What are your predictions? Do you think he's onto something? Do you think he's a little off? What are your thoughts about Tom Lee's prediction?
Yeah, I mean, Tom Lee is the permabull of permabulls, and he's on CNBC saying bullish things all of the time. Now, the problem that you have as a bear is proving Tom Lee wrong, because as bullish as he is very, very correct and accurate, and he has been right much more than he's been wrong. Is he perma-bullish? I think he is, but he's also right. So I think when Tom Lee speaks, folks pay attention. And look, it's not like he's just a crypto guy, right? He's been calling things all over the place in the semiconductors and the indexes, all over the risk curve. And so when he talks, I listen. He's big on Ethereum, but he's making a prediction about Bitcoin potentially doubling by the end of the year. He has my attention, and I was already bullish. Now, Tim, I'm just even more bullish.
Yeah, I want to say, though, you throw that term around, permabull, that's a little edgy term right there, which can be utilized for people who are pretty much bullish no matter what. Recently, you're not really running into too much trouble being a permabull. If you were a permabull back in 2022, you had some problems. If you were a permabull during the summer of 2024, even though we eventually went back up, there was a big pullback that happened. Same thing as January this year. I think Tom Lee, the reason I wouldn't call him a permabull is because, yes, I think he does get quiet. You don't really hear a lot of Tom Lee quotes during prolonged pullbacks. But I start to see him pop his head up towards bottoms, and I see him pop his head up as we're making big moves here. So I don't know if I'd go so far as to call him a perma bull. I think he is a bull. I think he believes in things long term. And as you did say, he's not wrong that often. I don't know if he always gets the price details correct. That's the hardest thing to do. And I'll tell you right now, as someone who does this for a living, who analyzes news, analyzes analytics and charts and everything else, it is extremely hard to pinpoint price action. It's even harder to pinpoint timelines, right? We do our very best. We make the best case we can for, I think that we could get to this level by this time. But I'll tell you right now, that is literally impossible. So hopefully nobody's out there selling their home, mortgaging their home, putting debt into their family because they're promised by Tom Lee we're going to double maybe like by the end of this year or something. That probably isn't going to happen. But it's about the long-term perspective of, yes, Bitcoin's still going up. Crypto is still going up. Invest wisely. Don't over-leverage yourself. Don't get crazy out there. But also, this is not the time to be taking profit and running away from the markets because there's still a lot of bullish things left. That part I do agree with him about. We're about to get into the charts here in a second. Make sure to smash that like. We got a comment from FN Dollars, and we're about to get into the charts, and I'm going to use some of this Lux Algo. But he said, hey, Tim, I'm new. Do you teach advanced Lux Algo strategies and entries and exits besides what you have uploaded on YouTube? If so, which Discord tier would that be? Now, I do believe that our Lux Algo tutorial video is not a part of the Academy. So we have a section in the VIP training group called the Academy where we have the basics of technical analysis. We teach all the fundamentals. But what I do with Lux Algo is that's one you can get even if you're in the Essentials package. What I will tell you, FN Dollars, is if you have a good understanding of technical analysis, the basics, go with the Essentials. If you don't, I highly encourage the Academy, learn the basics, grow everything you need to know, and then maybe scale back to the Essentials. But in theory, you can find all of our Lux Algo tutorials for the Essentials package. That's the cheapest package. So if you go out there and sign up for that, you should have everything you need and more. With that said, though, thank you for being here, FN Dollars. We're about to get into our charts, which are always brought to you by Lux Algo, the best trading indicator out there if you're serious about trading and making money. Go to my screen here, Smay. Oh, you're ahead of me. I saw that flash before I finished it. There you go. A lot of bullish, excuse me, a lot of bullish things happening. Let me get a drink of water.
Ooh, LaCroix.
Sometimes I need to slow down.
Choice.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
LaCroix. They're not sponsoring this video. They don't know who we are. But it's good bubbly, you know. There's a lot of bullish things happening on the charts right now. And I'll show you as we go like down towards like a 1 hour chart where I said earlier there could still be volatility. I don't want people coming in here and saying, Tim promised us nothing but up from here. So why are we potentially going lower tomorrow? That's or even tonight or something. Don't pay attention to that. Look at the longer time frame stuff for a moment. We've broken out of a falling level of resistance, a falling wedge pattern. This is a very bullish sign for Bitcoin. This doesn't send us to new all-time highs, right? This pattern would only suggest a breakout for Bitcoin back to the realm of somewhere here around 120,000. A little over 120,000, but it's not new all-time highs by any means. But there's going to be some key things here because what that would mean is breaking above, first of all, this pretty strong level of resistance here recently. The former lower high set back on August 28th is only sitting here around $113,000. You can see we've rejected now on that area 1, 2, and then we're kind of deciding right now. We're going to reject again. Are we going to be able to break through? But if we go towards 120 based off the breakout here, we've shattered that former high. We started the high of August 22nd, and we're back into that pattern of higher highs and higher lows. Love when we break resistance, love when we break formations, but ultimately until you get back into what's called a bull trend. Higher highs and higher lows in price action, negating the recent lower highs and lower lows, starting from all-time highs back on August 13th, you're still technically in this bear trend on the smaller time frames. But that's one thing we're watching here. We're also still tracking. I told you guys about this last week, and we're not moving very fast whatsoever, but Lux Algo Oscillator, the number one way I look for buy signals. I use it on the daily chart, the 4-hour chart, the 1-hour chart. And if I feel like scalping, you guys will find me using this all the way down towards the 5-minute, hey, even the 1-minute chart. I don't like the 1-minute chart too much. That's because it can change so quickly. But even down to the 5-minute chart, I use this strategy. I'm just looking for what I call the 3 buy signals, or and when it's bearish, the 3 sell signals. I'm looking for a reversal indicator, a reversal dot below the bottom bar. I'm looking for positive momentum on the hyperwave, or what we call the oscillator movement with that green dot. And I'm also watching probably the most dynamic part of the Lux Algo trading package, the money flow, to be flowing positively. We're not back in the green, right? We're not back above zero, but if we're flowing in the right direction to the upside, we are under what I would call a buy signal. Now, what does this mean? As we are sitting currently on top of the daily smart trail, I like usually to trade these up to smart trails. When that can't happen, I like to pull up the price action concepts and look at some key areas of what we call order blocks. And what I see on an order block right now, well, we have a breaker block that we could smash through here and get above 115. I think the next stopping point would probably be up towards that 122 mark. That's where I currently have a trade open. I have some take profit in that area. I might take some small profit there and let it keep riding as we go to new all-time highs. But right now, with that daily buy signal, it's feeling good. I believe even a lot of these coins, when you start to go out towards the weekly chart, they're also giving us some good signs here. Okay, so this isn't showing up on Bitcoin, but some other charts are getting this. Weekly charts are starting to get rounding over. You can see on Bitcoin, while we don't have a green dot yet, you are seeing the money flow start to go back positive on the weekly chart. You are seeing a rounding off of the oscillator. This would be very good news. Why? Because even though there's a whole lot of bullishness out there, there was a weekly sell signal back here where, guess what? Lux Algo's oscillator had a red reversal, had bearish divergence, a bearish momentum dot, and negative money flow. And I told you guys last week, during this bull run so far, so if I go back to 2022, the end of 2022, we've seen weekly sell signals only a handful of times. We saw one back here in January of 2025. We saw one back here in March of 2024. And we also saw them back here back in July of 2023. Well, what do all 3 of these have in common? All 3 of them pulled back down to the weekly smart trail. Right back here in August 23. It took a while, but we did pull back during the summer of 24. Obviously, we did that back in March 25. And right now, if that weekly sell signal held and does not get canceled out, then we're talking about a move back down below $100,000 towards $98,000. Right, that line keeps moving. I've said 96, I've said 95. Now it's up to about $98,000 almost. That technically is still on the table. So you might be saying, all right, shoot, dang, Tim, I thought we were supposed to be bullish. Now you're telling me you're about to go to $98,000 because we've done this so many times already, and this indicator is saying sell. Hold a minute. Because if next week we get the news that we are looking for, rate cuts in general, guys, there's a chance a 50 basis point cut is coming. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but a 50 basis point cut is potentially on the table. That would be really, really bullish, extremely bullish. And guess what happens when things get really bullish? Sometimes the weekly sell signals do not get hit. I feel like a broken record because if you guys have been watching me, I've said this before, but I think we need to say it again. What am I talking about? Go back to the extremely bullish parts of 2020 and 2021. Yes, the beginning of the last bull market. We had a weekly sell signal back in August of 2020. Do we get anywhere close to that smart trail? No, we do not. We had another one that flashed in January of 2021. Do we get close to that smart trail? No, we do not. During explosive bullish seasons, the weekly sell signals do not work. Well, if we are about to get rate cuts, and if the markets treat those rate cuts the way I think they will, we will enter into what? An extremely bullish season where these weekly sell signals do get ignored and we go to the upside. So that's what we're watching right now. But like I said, daily chart giving us buy signals with targets back up above 122,000. With that said, I told you earlier, I'm not saying that we won't have some volatility. Why? Because I just showed you a lot of time on the daily chart and the weekly chart, which a daily chart, I got 24 hours of price action that can happen to affect one candle. And a lot of times you get these signals and you really got to wait for like 12 candles on whatever time frame you're in to really understand what's going on. That means a daily buy signal, I have to wait like 12 days until I can really grasp, was this successful? Is this a failure? If I look at a weekly chart, I got to look at 12 weeks, 3 months before I can say, is this a failure? Is it successful? Well, there is some negativity, maybe all the way down towards the 1 hour chart. But of course, each one of these candles, we're only talking about 1 hour. So I only need like 12 hours to play out what it wants to do. You will see a sell signal all the way down here. What am I talking about? Well, reversal. red reversal, bearish momentum, and negative money flow. Guess what? We have a target right down here at roughly about 111,600 to down to about 111,300. So could Bitcoin over the next couple of hours, right? This sell signal came in a little bit earlier, but maybe the rest of tonight into the Asian trading hours, could we see Bitcoin pull back and touch support, giving us a higher low around 111,500, give or take? Absolutely. And then we continue to the upside. The good news is the 4-hour chart still looking strong. Still have some buy signals, still have a lot of movements to the upside there. It's just those low time frames that are giving us some pullback potential, volatility on the menu. So don't be surprised. I don't want anyone coming at me tomorrow saying, Tim said we're bullish, but then we pulled back to 111,000. Yes, because the 1-hour chart is volatile. I'm talking about macro. When I'm saying bullish, I'm talking about, let's talk about the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, next couple of months, not just the next couple of hours, right? Next couple of hours could be a little bit of a pullback here for Bitcoin, but that is what it is. Let's take a look here because there is a lot of bullish charts today. There are 2 charts turning red right now that you should be aware of. Number one, we're going to start off with the Bitcoin dominance chart, which once again is coming back to the downside. It's trailing back down. We're back down below 50. Let's say we actually never got above 59%, but we're back down at 58.35. We are trending in the right direction. Let's look at the larger time frames here. Is this just a little bit of a botch, or are we actually making some movements here? You're going to see the daily chart does give us a gray dot, does give us negative money flow. No, there's no red reversal, so I wouldn't call this a strong sell signal from Luxalgo. But as I said earlier, while I like to see all three, the number one part of this indicator is the money flow. Money flow pretty much tells us, is money coming in or is money going out? Well, when it comes to Bitcoin dominance right now, even on the daily chart, money is flowing excessively out. Right after having a little buy signal, after coming to the upside, it absolutely looks like we have some resistance in play here. You're going to see we came back up, took out some what you call fair value gaps. But right here, this red box, the top of this candle, that red outline, that pretty much says, hey, we took out, you only get these in hindsight, right? So you don't get to predict these, but we're taking out some major liquidity that's going to put an end to this run, right? This is a classic top right there. So on the daily chart, a lot of signs showing that this little bounce on the Bitcoin dominance after hitting below 58% for the first time in several months looks like might be coming to a close. And what that signals is that money, once again, doesn't mean Bitcoin can't rally. It means more money flows into altcoins than into Bitcoin itself. Another chart we should probably be watching more frequently, that's very, very bullish right now, it's called the USDT dominance chart. So Bitcoin dominance, what is its dominance at the moment? Still over 58%. What about USDT? USDT is still coming in at 4.41%. But if you were to compare this chart, let me go scroll out here. Let's get rid of some noise for a second. If you were to compare this chart to price action of crypto markets, you're going to find every single time that this chart is rising, crypto markets are falling. Why? Because people are taking profit from their altcoins, taking profit from Bitcoin, and they're storing it as USDT. They're storing it as stable coins. Why? Because they want to sell the tops, let it pull back, and then buy some dips. Well, what does that mean when it's falling, like it's trending right now? When it's falling, that means people are buying altcoins. They're buying things with their tether, with their stable coins. So with this being a nice trajectory to the downside, we're still seeing some major signs we want to make our moves down. We're sitting under a sell signal right now with a red reversal, bearish momentum, and negative money flow. So we got a sell signal right now on that time frame here. I think we are sitting on, no, we're below that smart trail. So the next stop up, we're looking down here at support. You're not going to really get anything back down here at 377, which means the trajectory of USDT dominance suggests people are going to be wanting to buy into altcoins. It's overvalued and it's looking like the markets are flipping there. So that's what you need to know about altcoins. Let's take a look at a couple of those altcoins. Not a lot. We'll take some time for some Q&A later. It's 3:25 already. Holy cow. Smash the like button, guys. We're going to try to hurry up here so we have time for Q&A. ETH is not necessarily flowing as bullishly as Bitcoin is right here, but I'm still holding on. There's a lot of positivity going on with ETH. Not quite a buy signal on the daily chart just yet, but you are starting to see some signs to the upside. We have a green reversal. We're rounding once again. We are flowing positive with the money flow. So we just got to get some positive movements happening with ETH once again. I think this is one of them where the weekly chart just never, no, this one actually does have a weekly sell signal. So again, I was looking at multiple charts here today. There is some altcoins with bullish weekly charts happening. I think probably XRP and Link are the ones that are going to have that. But ETH does need to make some major pullbacks here. Daily chart's not quite bullish just yet. The 4 hour is giving us some signs, right? We do have positive money flow, positive momentum, positive action here, but it's only the 4 hour chart. It only gets you bullish for so long. This does give us a trajectory that we can make our way all the way back up to 4,600. But I need to see that daily chart confirm the bullishness to feel good about ETH making its run once again. Don't feel bad, though. I do feel like that is coming. But if you're asking me, Tim, what coins are you trading right now? ETH is one that's not giving me as much confidence as, say, some others. And with those being said, let's take a look at just two more. XRP with a big move here today. It is up almost 4% here today, but even better, it's breaking some longer-term resistance of a falling wedge pattern. Yeah, XRP has been boring. Yes, XRP has been disappointing to people. We've told you, do not give up on it. I would love to see it get back above 312, get a new higher high after lower highs coming in from since July. But breaking that resistance level, getting a bullish buy signal here on the daily chart. And then this is one over here. Must have gone away here, but it's flashing earlier. We are very close to flashing a green dot right here on the weekly chart for that oscillator. We're breaking resistance. You got to feel very good about what you're seeing on XRP. Same with Chainlink. Chainlink was itself also under a falling wedge pattern. Today, we've broken that resistance. This one's up almost 3% here. Broken that resistance. We have that daily buy signal in play, and we got a target all the way up here back towards $27 for Chainlink. There's a lot of altcoins doing some great things. Solana's up over 4% today. Someone asked about Cardano. They're up 3.34%. We might take a look at some other coins later on. But overall, the markets are looking good. The markets are looking strong. We have some big news coming out the rest of this week, and we have FOMC next week, which will play a major, major role in this bull run continuing. But for right now, I think a lot of these coins are still low and showing those positive signs that this is the right time to be buying. I do think tomorrow I'm putting out a video. There's a lot of coins to buy right now, but there's 3 coins right now that I really like where they're sitting, and I'm buying them right now, and I'm going to be putting that video out tomorrow. So look forward to that. Tonight at 7 p.m., I will tell our VIP trading group in our live trading session what those 3 coins are. The rest of you either get in the VIP trading group tonight, or you got to wait till tomorrow morning at 3 o'clock, and I'll tell you over there. You can go off my screen now, Smay. It's time to get into some stories, but first, Shrum, I'm going to drink of water. Some more LaCroix here. I was watching this one show that says there's no such thing as a free, no free sponsors on our show. So I can't say their name anymore until another bubbly company wants to come and pay us money to drink their drink on air. So you're not even allowed to look at it. It's just a purple can for some of you out there. How are you feeling, Shrum, about the markets right now? Did you buy any dips this weekend? Are you still holding off? What are your thoughts right now?
No, I bought some Ondo because it just hasn't ripped quite yet, and I'm very convinced that Ondo will rip. And I also bought some AVAX, kind of in a similar boat. You know, it's still very undervalued for the cycle, and it hasn't really ripped yet. And if we think altcoins are going to have this big wind in its sails, move to the upside, altcoin season, then AVAX is kind of one of the most discounted blue chip L1s out there to keep buying. So that one, AVAX and Ondo. Also bought some silver, Tim. Okay. I sold a lot of NVIDIA. I sold pretty much all of the NVIDIA I own, and I rotated it all into silver for now until I figure out exactly how I want to allocate that. But silver is kind of the catch-up trade to gold, which keeps hitting all-time highs. Don't want to buy something at the all-time highs in the case of gold, so I'm going to buy silver as it continues to chase its big brother gold there. Don't plan on holding silver long-term, just a trade for me. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But Tim, anytime Bitcoin is trading above 100K is a good day.
Shout out to Mongoose Lab saying it's my birthday. We said birthday technically, but can I get a shout out? Yeah, you go, Mongoose Lab. Happy birthday to you. All right, let's get into some talk here. We're going to start off with the first conversation. 50 basis points. Is it potentially possible? We actually have a company that's predicting it, but before that, let's take a look at my screen here. You're going to have to take my face off of this one, Smay, for a second, because I block it up, right? So this is CME futures, right? You got to take CME futures with a grain of salt. I'm not here telling you this is guaranteed, but I want to make sure you're aware of what's happening here. Right now, as we are just a little less than a week away from this FOMC meeting, there's a prediction on CME, an 88% chance that we get 25 basis point cut. 11.8% chance means that we could get a 50 basis point cut. There's a probability of almost 12% we get a 50 basis point cut. Now, that's not a high probability by any means, but that means there's a 100% chance from CME that we're getting a cut next week. Polymarket's not quite as bullish. It's coming in at 85% saying 25 basis points, 13% at 50 basis points. So it's actually giving more of a chance for 50 basis points, but it still leaves a 3% probability, right? There are still some people out there betting that there will not be a rate cut. However, it gets more interesting as we look towards the future of these predictions, because this one, we've been going back and forth. More recently, CME at one point a couple of weeks ago only had one rate cut by the end of the year. Then they kind of warmed up to two. But what we're looking at right now is overwhelming, almost 100% probability of 25 basis point cut or more in September. A 74% chance of another 25 basis point cut with another 10% chance almost of another two. So what does that mean? Ultimately, it's saying right now we will have another cut. We'll at least have 50 basis point cuts total in October by more than, 83% chance, because there's only 16.6% chance that we stay paused in October. And then in December right now, 67.9%, 68% probability saying we will have three cuts by then, down to 350 to 375. Still almost 9% chance that we have four happening right now. Bring my screen back up here. This is a major development because, again, about a month and some change ago, there's the highest probability was one rate cut. Then we started to compete and saying maybe two happens, two maybe happens. Last week they were saying two. Now we are predicting heavily with 76% probability we should have a 3 rate cuts by December. This could be absolutely massive. Some of this is coming from a prediction made even today from Standard Chartered. Now, Standard Chartered, I will say, they change their predictions like some people change their underwear, right? Daily. Hopefully daily. You guys are changing your underwear. We're going to get away from that topic because that could get us into dangerous places. I was going to ask Smay and Shrum what their trajectory is, but I'm afraid an answer could be not what I was hoping for. So at the end of the day, they change their opinion on things all the time. But today, according to a Reuters article, Standard Chartered has predicted the U.S. Federal Reserve will cut interest rates by 50 basis points at its September 2025 meeting. I laid this out on our X account here. Even down below, I kind of explained in more detail their reasons why. This, of course, is having to do with the recent job numbers that came out that hit the higher end of the trajectory, right? Unemployment's over 4.3%. It's the highest it's been in quite some time. Let's go off my screen here, Smay. I want to bring this up to discussion with Shrum. Standard Chartered changes their predictions, but this is a massive company that a lot of people listen to. They're making a hot observation here, a prediction that doesn't seem to yet be backed up by CME or by Polymarket, but they're saying 50 basis points next week. I think we heard even last week, I can't remember the name of the Fed member, but there was a Fed member who said 50 basis points is absolutely on the table. They weren't guaranteeing they're voting for it, but it's a part of the discussion. What say you, Shrum? What do you think the probability is, the possibility of 50 basis points here in September, as we are seeing, again, not historically high, but the highest unemployment levels we've seen in a couple of years? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's zero, but I think that there's not enough data to really support a 50 basis point cut if we're going off of the classic academic approach that Jerome Powell and Alan Greenspan and Janet Yellen have employed to make decisions over at the Federal Reserve. I would argue, like Donald Trump, that we should have rates close to zero because of what the artificial intelligence wave is about to do to the unemployment rate. But that is not what the code, what the rules, what the guidance of the Federal Reserve is. They are supposed to just react to incoming data, not look beyond the incoming data and use basic logic and reason to make decisions. So I think it's not zero that we get a 50 basis point cut. But I
Yeah.
think what Standard Chartered is doing and what others who are throwing out that 50 basis point cut are doing is they're anchoring, right? It's a negotiation tactic. And instead of negotiating in a boardroom, they're negotiating in the realm of public relations, of being out there and making statements, right? So if I say 50, right, that means you have to at least give me 25, right? If I tell you the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, but I really just want people to go 80, I got to put it at 70, right? That way I'm negotiating with people who want to speed on the interstate, but I ultimately get what I want. So I think this is the same thing here. Standard Chartered, along with Scott Bessent, by the way, the Treasury Secretary, he said this months ago, I think in July. They're saying, hey, we want the speed limit to be 50 basis points, when in reality, they just want a 25 basis point cut. They really just want the transition from quantitative tightening into quantitative easing. Let's get this ball rolling. Give us 50 basis points, but we'll take 25. I think that's what the posturing is here. And I mean, you look at the poly market spread, only a 3% chance now that we're going to get a pause in September. We do still have quite a bit of data coming out this week from the Bureau of Labor Statistics and the inner machinations of how they arrive at their statistics. But then we also do have a pretty big one at the end, towards the end of this week on Thursday, and that is the headline inflation print. And that one could potentially throw a wet blanket on everything, because if that inflation print comes in hot, I mean real hot, then that could give Jerome Powell the justification to say, whoa, 50 basis points, 25 basis points, we're pausing, right? But we have to get past Thursday. I think that's why I told the bros in the trading group this morning that I think we could have a very, very bullish Friday, as all the pent up energy from this week kind of sideways movement, maybe a little bit of testing higher, testing lower. But I think by Friday morning, 9 a.m. New York open, we could be seeing some very high prices if we indeed get a favorable print from that inflation numbers, because then there's nothing stopping that day of the September 17th decision being green light, cut, quantitative tightening's over. We're making money cheaper. Small caps going higher, altcoins going higher. Investors look down the risk curve for maximum returns.
Yeah. So some of the numbers people are coming out here on Wednesday, the 10th, we will get PPI numbers, right? Yeah. PPI is a big one to watch for. Core PPI, for example, year over year is expected to come out lower, right? Last month it was 3.7%. The expectation is 3.5, 3.6%. Yes, may go into my screen. You can't see some of the numbers I've been reading here, but that's coming out Wednesday. The big one, though, that everyone will pay attention to is going to be Thursday. And we're going to be looking at inflation and mostly inflation year over year here. This is what's going to need to happen. You can see here the previous month was 2.7. Behind my face, you can't see it. Consensus is 2.9%, and the forecast is 2.8%. There, now you can see it. This is what would need to happen. With us having higher unemployment numbers, bring me back on here, Smay. With us having higher unemployment numbers, that's already trending in the wrong direction. Like, that is why we are so locked into a rate cut. I'll tell you right now, 2.9 or 2.8%, I think you start to see a probability come back of a pause, but I still think they're leaning towards a 25 basis point cut. If we hit 2.7% or lower, right? But I don't think we go lower. Let's just say we stay at 2.7%. That is when I think that conversation of having 50 basis point cuts comes into effect fully. Why? Because inflation stayed put and unemployment is climbing. Another reason I think this could be interesting. Holy crap. Zach Fletcher is in chat.
Yo.
And throwing some shade at my hairline, though. Zach Fletcher, good friend of ours. Man, I was thinking about you the other day, my friend. I mean, I need to call you. But thank you for insulting me on my YouTube channel now. But love you, man. Good to see you. Let's catch up soon. Anyway, back to what I was saying here. If we get low numbers here, another reason why I think 50 basis points would make sense is because of a political thing. Let's go full screen now. We don't need to look at this data point anymore. Last year, and I think there's some credibility to this, right? If you don't like Jerome Powell, people have been using this argument all the time. Last year, Jerome Powell showed a potentially slightly politically motivated decision in August, right before a massive election. And at the time, there was a lot of debate. Would it be Trump? Would it be Kamala Harris? Was Kamala Harris's / Biden's economy good or not good? Due to a slight uptick in unemployment, Jerome Powell cut interest rates by 50%, boom, out of nowhere. Why? Because he said, hindsight, he said, oh, there's no political thing here. I'm not trying to help any particular party. We're not political here. It's because we saw some risk in the unemployment market, and we wanted to show people we do care about unemployment. We will fight to keep it down. We have tools at our availability, right? Some people call BS. Some people say, no, he absolutely did it just to give a last second boost to the current administration, and it was clearly politically motivated. If Jerome Powell wants to maintain that he's not politically motivated, he's seeing almost identical situations right now, which would mean, again, if inflation stays low, we are seeing unemployment rise up, there's a case to say, hey, guys, the last time we saw this, August of 2024, we cut by 50 basis points. Time to do it again. So there's a case there for certain that we could get a 50 basis point cut. Now, I'm with you, Shrum. I think it's going to be 25. I don't think we should get too worked up unless unemployment comes in at 2.7 or below. I don't think we should play too much weight into a 50 basis point cut. But I will say, if we hit 3%, I think that's where we start getting in trouble. If you're out here saying we're going to pause rates once again, it's not going to be cutting rates. I think we're going to need to see 3% or higher. Right, 3%. If you go to like 3.5%, all of a sudden now you bring back rate hikes on the table. But I think 3% is a pause, possibly. I think 2.9 or 2.8 is 25 basis points. And I'll just go ahead and say it right now. If we come in at 2.7 or lower, do not be surprised if 50 basis points all of a sudden becomes the most likely probability of a FOMC meeting next week. I saw someone in chat say, yeah, this is exactly why we're going to crash. Guys, we crashed last year. I don't even need to go back to the charts. I'll just tell you, no, we didn't. You guys weren't watching. August, September, October, November, these were bullish months. We rallied after rate cuts last year. Historically, the only time we crash during rate cuts is after a massive increase in unemployment. If the economy starts to crumble, if unemployment skyrockets, if we see a recession coming and we're reacting to it, if it's already too late, and I know Trump keeps calling Jerome Powell too late Powell, it's not, though. Like, the economy is not in turmoil. Cutting rates before turmoil spikes prices. Cutting rates because of turmoil, that's when you see rate cuts cause crashes. And they don't even cause them. They're happening at the same time as the crash. So ultimately, I'm bullish. I just don't think there's a lot of scenarios where we're bearish here. I think the scenario is inflation, comes out ridiculously high, 3% or higher. That's where I think you run into a pause, and potentially that's what makes people say, we're headed for stagflation, where both unemployment and inflation are rising at the same time, uncontrollable. There's nothing we can do about it. That's what causes markets to crash. If that happens, I'll tell you, I'll be bearish. But as long as inflation stays low and unemployment is only trickling to the upside, rate cuts will come, and those rate cuts will bring liquidity to the markets, and people will be buying dips, and the bull market will continue. That's my case right there. Let me know if you guys disagree. Shum, you have a thought there?
Yes, I'm so glad that this was put in here. BC Port Corp, love ya. You're going to feel like I'm coming at you here. I'm not. But you said the recession risks from a cut are massive, though. Rising inflation and weakening job markets sound like 80s stagflation 2.0. You used all the buzzwords that are irrelevant. Recessions, stagflation. If you hear people saying these things, run from their analysis because they don't know what they're talking about. A recession and stagflation are not coming. They need to cut the rates. There's an unprecedented technology called artificial intelligence that is putting people out of their jobs. And the government data is not showing that yet, but it will, and it will be too late if they wait too long. Recession, stagflation, take these terms and take them out of your vocabulary. They do not mean anything. Recessions are over. If a recession is really going to come, they're going to print. They're going to print. Recessions are not coming. Stagflation's not coming. All that matters is that the government keeps on moving and that they convince the public that they're going to eventually pay down the debt. Okay. Recessions and stagflation are things of the past. Do not look to history books to try to make money in markets today. Okay. Look to the news, look to the charts. Sorry, not trying to come at you,
No, it's,
BC Port.
listen. What you said was true. Again, respect to you, BC. You're in a big camp of belief system about how that works. I think Strum's right here, though. That's not how it's going to work this time. We got 2 headlines I want to kind of go through quickly. I want to get into some Q&A with people. I think, even BC might have some questions, might have some follow-ups. We'll look into that for a second. But 2 big pieces of news you need to know about. We're not going to discuss it too much. Let's just read the headlines. NASDAQ files with the SEC to allow tokenization and blockchain listings of stocks. Again, if you have been sleeping on tokenization, this is your time to wake up. Right, this is coming. This is one of the biggest reasons why I still think altcoins have a long way to go, especially the ones going to be involved with tokenization. Think a lot of the layer ones. Think Chainlink. Think Ondo. Think Plume. Others. The big boys, and that's the S&P. That's NASDAQ. That's the Wall Street. They are coming for cryptocurrencies. They're going to utilize them. So I'm not talking about your everyday meme coin. I'm not talking about random coin number 457. I'm talking about if you are a coin with utility and you service the institutions, especially via tokenization, you're far from your top, because that top is that rally is not yet happened. It will happen after we have the NASDAQ finally go through with all this stuff. Other big news, there was a large-scale supply chain attack in progress. A lot of details here. I might let Shrum kind of wrap this up and clean up, and can I miss something? But ultimately, don't transact too many things today, right? If you're on a trading account, if you're on BloFin, you're fine. But I would not suggest people with your exchange, like on Coinbase or Kraken or Binance or wherever you are, maybe don't do a lot of on-chain movement today. They're working to fix it. This is not the first time this has ever happened. And unfortunately, it will not be the last time it ever happens. There are certain things that are safer than others, but ultimately, just to be safe, don't move crypto around today. At least wait until tomorrow. They'll patch everything up, and you should be good. Shrum, anything you want to add to that before we move into some Q&A time?
I think you said it well. That today's just not the day to be sending and receiving a bunch of crypto. Just keep it where it is, and you should be good.
All right, let's take a look here at questions. Shrum and Smay, if you guys see things you want to take a look at, let me know. Now, there's some people in here saying, BC, I follow you, sure, but shout out to BC. If you are, I need to click on his name. Does he have a channel? Let's give a shout out to him real quick. I love debate. I love people coming and giving their opinions. Hopefully no one took that as like disrespectful or anything, because again, I love surrounding myself with people who disagree with me. I love reasoning with them. I love talking with them. I love hearing their perspective. Here he is, BC Port Core. Let me see if I can find him. Go to his channel. Let's see here. Let's see. Don't go to my screen just yet. Is this him? Go to my screen now. BC Port Core.
Blackie Chan, previously known as Blackie Chan.
Oh, is Blackie Chan? Oh, that's what BC stands for? Okay. Well, then we know exactly who this is. He just changed his name. See, change your name on me. I'm not going to know who you are. Shout out to Blackie Chan. Been part of the community for a while. So now I'm putting 2 and 2 together. Love Blackie Chan. Go check out Blackie Chan's channel, but it's now BC Port Core. There it is right there at Blackie Chan PC. Okay, if I just clicked on it, I would have figured it out long before. Anyway, Blackie Chan, friend of the channel. Love having you in here. We just disagree here. We just disagree on this one. Let's see what he said. He highlighted the weakening job market being AI. It's been a reason that people aren't able to find jobs in sectors. No one is hiring level 1 coders because AI, 40% Coinbase code is AI. I'm sure I'm covering up on a different conversation there. So look for other stuff happening in there as well. Love to see a collab stream with you guys and BC Port Core. Maybe we'll have to work on it, Dutchy. Pretty busy schedule, but we'll see. Real Chris B says, you can't change your name on YouTube, says Tim Warren Trading Group. Did I say you can't change it? Okay. All right. Fair. Touche, Real Chris B. If I did say it, I was wrong. You're right. Can you please do TA on Aerodrome and its potential or not? Thanks, says Freiheit Solutions. Freiheit? There's no R in there. Freiheit? Is that German, Smay? Okay, thank you. Let's go take a look at Aerodrome. Are you muted, Smay? You don't want to talk? Did I hurt your feelings too? All right, thank you. All right, we're going to do some more charting here with Aerodrome. It came down here, touched the daily smart trail, right? This was after a good sell signal. We shorted this in our VIP trading group. Why? Well, come in here, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. Guess where we shorted it to? Shorted it all the way down here towards $1.15. Didn't quite get the bottom right there, but Close enough. Made some money. That's what really matters in the world of trading. Now, what do we have going on here? We do have a buy signal. Now, the money flow is kind of paused here in the daily chart. So let's resume this bullish momentum. But green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow, that is what you want to see for Aerodrome. When you zoom out here, you're also going to see, we talked about this longer term long, right? So this was a long we made into a shorter term short. We talked about the big move down here that happened back in April, touching a long major level of support. We talked about, I think we were discussing this back in August, a move up and that there would be some small resistance here in the world of $1.50. We rejected. We're having a little pullback, but if we can resume this rally, if this daily buy signal ends up being bigger, we're talking about a major move to the upside here. Conservatively, just the falling channel itself for Aerodrome, a breakout would send price to not just new all-time highs, up towards 889. Keep in mind, the all-time high is only at 235, so smashing that to the upside. Longer-term perspective, you could take a look here. I don't think that's actually going to be any longer, but you could take a look at this and say, hey, is this a bull flag pattern? It's going to be kind of to a similar area, if we're actually being honest. Yeah, it's only going to take us to like 966. So either way, though, still a big, big move for Aerodrome, no matter what way you kind of use that formation to make a move here. But it will depend, again, can we get this daily buy signal to continue and make its big move? Why is that so important? Because the trajectory to the upside would be on the short term, order block move back up to $1.55. That should be good enough to crush this resistance, though, break through it, and begin that longer journey up towards $9 for Aerodrome. On shorter time frame stuff, let's take a look at the 4 hour and the 1 hour here, and I'll let it go. Got a little buy signal here on the 4 hour chart, but that's not going to do much for me. We could make our way back up to $1.23 before we see some resistance there. But I'm going to just imagine, just like everything else here today, you're going to see some overbought signals here. Red reversal, bearish momentum. And the money flow is still flowing positively, but you can see a small bit of negativity coming in right there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Arrow want to pull back down here towards $1.15 again. Do we find support there? Start the 4 hour journey up closer towards, where was that level? Closer towards $1.23. And then again, you go out to the longer time frames. Let's get that daily buy signal flowing. Let's get above $1.50. Let's break that resistance. And we're talking about brand new all-time highs coming very, very soon. That's what we're looking at right now on Aerodrome. Last thing I'll take a look at here with liquidations. Anything else to be aware of? Are we heavily liquidated to the upside or downside? There we go. Not really. There's a little pocket back at 106, but you're going to see this. We're kind of working on taking this pocket out at 121. And then the brightest spot right now on the charts are up there at 146. So maybe a potential short squeeze in play for Aerodrome in the next little bit. Seth Shepard said, what about AVAX? I like AVAX. We're gonna do one more. I'm gonna save AVAX. That's actually gonna be in a video coming out later this week. So I'm gonna save my AVAX tutorial for now. Might do some in the VIP trading group tonight if anyone goes in there. One more question, and we do got to update some people on what's going on with Moon Madness. Some of you guys will know what we did there. If not, we'll explain it here in a second. Last question, Strum. I'll let you choose it. What are you seeing on the chat that you want to answer?
Yeah, a lot of people asking for AVAX. Again, AVAX, one of the ones that I bought recently. Yeah. Wrong Again said mid-September equals local BTC bottom last 2 years. You ready? Question mark. It's an interesting prediction. I could see that being the case if we don't get a cut.
I don't love doing month analysis like that, saying, oh, this month, it's always different, but I think he's going to be all. I mean, I agree with the concept, but I just don't know if I think that is something that's the analysis worth sticking with. Man, a lot of people asking for Litecoin. I'm not going to do Litecoin TA. That is kind of a little transition to something I was going to not discuss. I kind of had it ready for the show, but I decided not to. Who was there over the weekend during all the back and forth drama with Ben Cowan and whoever is running the Litecoin account? I'll tell you this right now. This is just a little thoughts with Tim. The Litecoin chart does not look good. Go to my screen here, Smay. There was a tweet that went out from Ben Cowan, just pretty much talking about the chart, and someone running the Litecoin account retweeted a picture of it, comparing it to his hairline. Right. So as somebody who doesn't have the greatest hairline myself, I'm not just coming at this from like, I got to defend everybody who has a receding hairline. At the end of the day, if your best comeback to an argument about long-term price action is to personally attack the person, you've automatically lost the argument. Ben Cowan is too smart of a person to get into well, what do you look like as a legitimate argument thing here. I ultimately tweeted back out at this. I said, one of the easiest ways to prove your low intelligence during debate is to use personal attacks against the person you are debating. This goes for you guys as well. I mean, I'm not pointing anybody else out specifically, but as you guys, I love our community. I love the tight-knit community that we have, very uplifting. We have some trolls in our community. We have people like to have a good time. But I just want to make sure it's very clear here. Anyone out there who is going online and sending personal attacks to argue with someone, I just want you to know, like anyone who comes after us, like people comment about what I look like. People comment what Shrum looks like. People comment what Smay looks like. The number one piece of evidence to me that you are a low IQ individual is when you use personal attacks to disagree with somebody. Now, if you want to call my evidence or my arguments or my technical analysis wrong, we got a great conversation. Great. Tell me I'm wrong. Explain to me where my thinking is wrong. Debate my ideas, not my personality or my personal look. That to me, you're never going to hurt my feelings. I have, believe it or not, guys, I was bullied a lot growing up. I got told a lot of things about myself. I've learned it doesn't really matter what people think of what I look like. When people go after my intelligence, now we have to have a conversation. But you're not going to hurt my feelings. So don't waste your time. Don't prove to me you're a low IQ individual. Prove to me you're smart by attacking ideas. Don't attack people. Litecoin, people out there. I don't like Litecoin. I'm not holding Litecoin. Don't be like the guy running the Litecoin account, right? That's my advice to you. Maybe don't also hold Litecoin. I don't know. All right. There's my soapbox. We always have to have one soapbox session for the day. Let's take a look at our Moon Madness results here. I have some interesting thoughts about this, though. Smay, bring it up here. You guys are going to see the results from week one. There were some surprises here. There were some things that stuck out to me, and I was like, okay, did not see that one coming. Just so you guys know, if that video that Shrum, me, and Crux did, kind of previewing this, Shrum has the highest win rate, right? So in all of this, Crux and I both got, I want to say 4 answers wrong. I predicted Litecoin actually would outbeat ENA, despite the fact that I just said, but actually after this weekend, it makes more sense why Litecoin didn't win. So I wish I could go back and change that answer to ENA. So did Crux, but Shrum got this one right. He said ENA, despite the fact that early in the video, he actually said he thought Litecoin would win. So, had some flip-flopping during video, but at the end, he got that right. Shrum and I both predicted Pepe to be H-bar. Crux was right. H-bar came out victorious. Arbitrum versus Tron. Shrum and I both said Tron. We were right. Or we both said Arb. Wait a minute. No, never mind. I got that one wrong. No, I got it right. Sorry. You got it wrong, Shrum. You said Tron. Arbitrum was the winner. So I was actually the only one to get that one right. So never mind. We're all tied up 4-4. Crux has 4-2. Yeah. XRP Caspa, though. This was the surprise. This was the biggest surprise of them all. You guys see in the top right corner. Caspa beats XRP. XRP Army was asleep. Caspa Army came out in droves. I think there was 1,900 votes for Caspa, which was way more votes than almost any other poll received. So you're going to have to start watching out for Caspa to be a real player here, right? If we just went on week one votes, Caspa was the clear leader. Now, they're coming up against Chainlink. How many people are going to look at that and vote Chainlink instead of Caspa when they see that poll going to have a chance? I'm not going to try to influence it. Crux isn't going to try to influence it. Shrum and Smay, they're not going to try to get on X and influence it. You guys vote on it. But that's going to be a very interesting matchup. Overall, there were some other things here. Most lopsided polls. I was wrong. Shrum was wrong. Crux was wrong. I said Uni or Uni only won 83% to 17. Same with Sol over Poll. The closest one, ADA, which was Shrum's prediction. ADA beat Pi 90% to 10%. But AVAX was the clearest win over Mantle. 93% of you voted for AVAX over Mantle. I'm not surprised you voted for it. I'm just surprised that was the landslide of them all. Cinderellas. I'm kind of running through some things. You guys have to watch this video. Go back and watch last Monday's video if you're lost here. We gave 3 Cinderellas. I said Tau. Tau survived. I really like Tau's matchup against Monero this week. I feel good about it. Crux said Caspa. Of course, he won and had the most votes. Caspa had the most votes. They're up against my beloved Chainlink. Let's see how that one works out. He's ahead. You're already out of this one, Shrum. You said ICP. But what I think is funny is you said ICP over Doge was your Cinderella pick, and then you predicted Doge would win. So a couple flip flops from Shrum, but he didn't do that bad. You actually did worse than I thought, though, because you did vote Tron. I missed that in my calculations. So all three of us, got 4 wrong of the 16 picks. Not that bad, but we'll see how week 2 goes. Most interesting matchups. You guys are looking at him right now, but I can tell you based off the voting, Ina versus H-Bar will be a very, very good one. I think ETH easily beats Hype. Sui will probably beat Uni. Ina, H-Bar, I think I'm going to say H-Bar based off the voting, but do not be surprised. That's going to be close. R probably beats Doge. Caspa Link, this one could go very viral. This one could get a lot of votes. I wouldn't be surprised if this one, if it catches right, has 20,000 votes on it. Caspa versus Chainlink. Caspa, with how strong their community is, and they seem to be attached to this Moon Madness already, but Chainlink, one of the hottest altcoins out there. That's going to be very interesting. I don't know, Tau, why does it not say XMR? Tau's going to be facing XMR. That's not going to be close. I think Tau wins that one. Aave AVAX will be very good. Again, both of those ones won pretty handsomely. But then you have Cardano versus Solana, an existing feud. I was really looking forward to an XRP versus Chainlink one, but Casper ruined that. ADA versus Solana. The communities will absolutely have something to say about that. These are two very passionate communities who don't seem to like each other. I don't know why. They're both good. But that's going to be very interesting. Anything that sticks out to you guys before we wrap this one up? Shrum, anything to say about your flip-flopping? Anything to say about week 2 polls? What are your thoughts?
I am not a flip-flopper. ENA versus H-Bar, that's a really exciting one. I think Uni could upset Sui. I really do think that can happen.
Maybe. I was wrong about some others, so maybe.
I think there's a lot of people that use Uniswap still. We'll see. Ethereum easily beats Hype, I believe. Although, maybe Hype has a chance, but I think Ethereum's just too big. Caspa and Link, I think you got to give it to Link. I think Tau takes it over XMR. AVAX, Aave, that's going to be another very close one. And then Cardano, Solana. That's just going to be whichever community can really activate and spread the word.
Yeah.
Because that one could obviously is very close. I would say Cardano has to have a bigger community than Solana, but we'll see.
I mean, I think what you would say is if the same people vote, more people voted for Cardano in round 1 than Solana, but that doesn't mean round 2 goes that way. Same with Sui and Uni. More people voted for Sui than people voted for Uni, but that could change. I mean, people look at these polls that go a little different. But I mean, Caspa versus Link. Will the same Caspa people show up? They got way more votes than Link did in Link versus Ondo, so it really depends on who sees it, what community takes it. Again, I do think Crux, and I talked about this, that was fine. I think Crux swayed it a little bit. He definitely recruited a lot of Caspa people to it. He used a little bit of momentum to go, but that's fine. But week 2, I told him, hey, versus Link, we're gonna let the winner win. And if it's Caspa over Link, I'll disagree. I'll think there was some cheating, but I will let it go on, and we will see. At that point, if Caspa beats Chainlink, I think it's hard to think that Caspa is not the favorite to win the whole tournament. If they can recruit the votes to beat out Chainlink, who stands in their way? Who? Maybe Cardano. I mean, Cardano's got a very avid, very vocal fan base, but I just don't see anyone on the left side of that chart standing up to Caspa. And I think the hardest competition for it would be Chainlink, in my personal opinion. But maybe Cardano can get it done.
Kenny G asking a clarifying question says, where is Moon Madness? You're in the middle of it. This is Moon Madness.
This is Moon Madness. You can vote on all these over on our X account, the Tim Warren Trades account. Do we have the new ones up yet, Shrum, or are we about to put those up here this afternoon?
Yeah, those will be up a little bit later today.
Yeah, I think we're going to do the first 3, I want to say. First 3 there are going to be ETH versus Hype, Sui versus Uni, and Ina versus H-Bar. Make sure you guys go and vote on those today. With that said, though, that is all we have for you in today's live show. Thank you so much for being here. We had a lot of fun, had a lot of conversation. Make sure to smash the like button on your way out. And if you want to learn more about that VIP trading group, check out the link down below. Trading group, we'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. The rest of you, we'll see you Wednesday for our Wednesday live show.